In this episode, we're going to talk about quite a few things like why you need to raise your prices, why you need to prioritize your time and energy on actually growing your business, and a few other things that you can implement into your business. And a quick shout out to our sponsor, Jobber. Now, I've been using Jobber in my business for the last 5 years now. So what we use Jobber for is to keep track of our customers' information, book out our schedule. We use it to send automated appointment reminders via email or text messages. We send out quotes. Employees clock in and out. It's our CRM that drives our business. It helps us stay organized. It helps us be efficient. And it helps us stay on top of the dozens of things you have to do in your business. And for us that we offer not just detailing, but window tints, PPF, and vinyl wraps, like we need a tool to help us keep everything organized so that we can actually deliver a great customer experience to our customers. So if you want to get a free 14-day trial plus a special discount, click the link down in the description. Or if you're listening to this, just click the show notes and give it a try. All right, so it's been a while since I've posted a podcast episode, whether on YouTube or audio, or actually even just posting a YouTube video on Dita Group. It's actually been a while. Not that it's been a prolonged period of time, but relative to the cadence that I was doing over the last 6 months, this has probably been the biggest gap that I haven't really been posting on Instagram or YouTube or podcast, just because you get caught up in a bunch of work, and then it just kind of compounds, and you push back this thing and then that thing, and then you just keep on going, and sooner than later you're like, oh, I haven't posted in a while actually. So that's the reason why I haven't posted a podcast, just because we got a lot busier. There's a lot of things that we had to catch up on. There's a few times where we kind of overbooked and we really just had to hammer down the work. And then on top of that, offering the new marketing services, detail growth services is what it's called. We signed up a few clients, and then that just added another layer of workload. So between trying to help out with the cars and then trying to manage clients and keeping the process going, it just got overly hectic with what I was doing and what I had on my plate. And right now, we signed on 6 clients for the marketing services, and I shut it down in terms of the phone calls, because in order to sign up for the service, you do get on a 35-minute call with me just to kind of make sure that we're a good fit. And trust me, there's plenty of people that I've turned away because they weren't a good fit, meaning whether they're just getting started, they're still trying to figure out still trying to get to their first $5,000 per month or something. I say, hey, you're just at this given point, it doesn't make sense to come with us. It's better you kind of just keep on building your business, and then maybe down the road it makes more sense to work with us. So we signed up 6 clients. I turned off the phone calls, that way I wouldn't overload myself with work, because even right now with the clients that I have, there's times where I just get a few hours a day to work on the laptop because we're just out there hammering cars out. And I want to shoot the content for the videos, but again, if we're prepping a vehicle for a correction and coating, or for window tint, I fly by the prep process. I move pretty quickly because that's just what I do. And I'm pretty efficient with it, right? So it doesn't look pretty. If I don't really use the foam. I don't really foam down a vehicle. And it's not the most not pleasant, but in terms of what you see on YouTube or social media, you'd be like, oh man, this guy's moving all over the place. But I knock out a prep process pretty fast because there's so much more to get to. So I don't even bother recording the content because I don't talk throughout that process. I don't stop because I just want to prep the vehicle. So in 30, 45, depending on what it is, right? F-150 versus the Corvette Z06 that we have, different size and that means it takes a different time to prep the vehicle. 30, 45 an hour, the vehicle's prepped and we're ready to correct it, straightforward. And if it needs a heavy correction, all right, we're pulling up the rotaries, and we are going to go for maximum cut on this vehicle, and we're not playing around with the DAs and trying. No, it's we're going to do maximum cut and just go after this vehicle. And kind of being in that mode, it's really hard to slow down and pick up the camera. But it would be great content. But how fast we're trying to knock out these vehicles, and again, I don't mean fast by cutting corners. It's just we're trying to be very efficient, So I don't really bother getting the camera just because I'm really just focused on getting my part of the detail done and then coming back to the office and working on the dozens of other things that I have on the plate with the courses, with the content, with the clients. So that's why there's been a lack of content here. But one thing we can talk about a few subjects here. One thing I do want to talk about is I keep on going back to the same thing, but like really, regardless of where you are in your business, you shouldn't be focused on products in terms of reviewing products or watching detailed review products if you're really trying to grow a business, okay? Because I mean, at least per what I see on my Instagram feed, it seems like there's a lot more of detail brands or detailers, YouTubers creating their own detailing brand again, which isn't bad. Don't get me wrong. There's more products coming out in the market, more people starting detailing distribution stores or online e-commerce stores that just sell detailing products, and then they create their own content. And again, there's a time and place for everything. But if your main goal, if your main thing is I want to grow my business because I want to quit my job or grow my business to just create more income, and whatever that goal is, you shouldn't be spending I'm not gonna say a majority of your time, but you shouldn't spend a good portion of your time looking at, learning about, reading on, watching, listening about tools and products and brands. And the reason why I say this is just because when I see those videos and I look at the content and I look at the comments and I click on the profile, just because I'm interested in like who's watching and such. And with people DMing me and talking to me, of course you're a detailer and you need to be the best detailer that you can be. And, you need to provide the best results that you possibly can. Now, that's why I say there's a time and place for everything, because if you've only ever used a dual action polisher to polish paint and you're like, man, what's all this thing about a rotary? How do I use that? Okay, it makes perfect sense to watch videos on how to use a rotary, tips on how to use a rotary and how to get proper cut and what's the proper method. Like, it makes sense to watch those videos because like that's a new skill you're trying to acquire of using a rotary, right? Because it is fundamentally different than a DA polisher, right? Now, does it make sense to watch another video of another line of products that has a wash, a clay lube, a glass cleaner, and an all-purpose cleaner? Yeah, like not really, because you can line up 15 different brands, okay, and different price ranges that offer their own set of pH neutral soap or a leather cleaner or an all-purpose cleaner or a glass cleaner or a leather conditioner or a tire and or a plastic and rubber dressing. And most of those will yield you just about the same results. Now, yes, there's going to be slight variances between the products, between the shine, the smell, the price, the option between 16 ounce, 8 ounce, a gallon. There's going to be a difference in how long it takes to get you, in the cost or in the shipping cost, right? Like, there's small little details that make a difference between let's say those 15 brands. But I can guarantee you, between those 15 brands, all of the and we're also assuming that these are reputable, good quality brands. Okay, if there's 15 good, reputable, quality brands that all have the same products, you will be able to use any of those products to get the results that you want. Right? Regardless if it's a rinseless, regardless of what glass cleaner, what opera, if you're choosing a quality brand, you're gonna get the result that you want. So that's why, like in our shop, we don't test. Now, don't get me wrong, we'll try new products every now and then because just because, right? But it's like every couple of months, not once a month, not several times a month. I don't keep a stock full of different brands that I'm waiting to try in a cabinet or in our shop. Like, you're not going to see that because I don't see any value in that. Like, as a business owner, right? Again, if you're really trying to grow a business, the actual, like, again, detailing in itself, like that's a skill you need, right? You need to learn how, like, you need to know how to extract, how to clean an interior, how to, all these things, right? But like specifically trying to learn more and more about tools and products, when most of those do about the same thing, it's a big waste of time. Because like as a detailer, yes, you want to learn about all these new products, whatever, right? But what makes you money, what brings in customers, what grows your business, what creates the lifestyle that you want, what helps you actually reach your goals in your life, both financially or with your family, whatever it is like actually growing a business. And guess what's the biggest problem detailers have when I talk to them, right? And you can see this all across Instagram, YouTube, it doesn't matter. What's the biggest problem detailers have? It's growing a business. It's getting customers. It's getting leads. It's raising their prices. It's increasing their revenue. Like this is the true problem detailers have. And yet those that are struggling or aren't exactly where they want to be, they're spending time learning about what they already know. Right? Like if you already have your arsenal of products in your van, in your garage, in your shop, wherever, you got that part pretty much down, right? Like between the pH neutral the pH neutral soap that you use versus the next one that's coming out next week, can guarantee you that's not going to make a big impact on your business, right? Like yes, again, if you look at all 15 brands, there will be slight variations between them, but none that would be like, oh man, after I got this pH neutral soap, oh man, like customers just started coming to me left and right, man. Like I fully booked out my schedule. Like I was doing 1 car a day, now I'm doing 2 cars a day, and I'm booked out 2 weeks in advance. Oh, that pH neutral soap, man, game changer. That's not happening. Okay, so again, like there's a time and place for everything. If you're just getting into detailing and you're trying to learn about the tools and products, yeah, it makes sense to spend your time analyzing and learning about these different what is a pH neutral soap and what is a all-purpose cleaner and what is the difference between the dilution levels and like that. That's where you are in your business. But if you already have a thorough understanding of all of that and you're trying to run a business and you want to make more money and you're like, and worst part is if you're struggling, you shouldn't spend time learning and watching more videos about generic detailing stuff because like it's gonna have no impact on you. On your, I mean, don't get, actually, I take that all back. It has a negative impact on you, right? Because if you're not proactively working on your business to actually grow it and take it to the next level, whatever that next level means, you are only moving backwards. Because if you're struggling right now and you're spending time learning about what you already know on things that don't move your business forward, then you are impacting your own business by wasting your time. And it sounds a little harsh, but man, like the conversation that I have with detailers and then what they post or what they say they're doing, I'm like, man, like, well, no, like, you know, where you spend your time and energy is what you're going to get most out of, right? And if you're spending most of your time and energy on becoming a better detailer, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. Like you need to be the best detailer that you can possibly be. But if you're spending your time and energy on the wrong things about being a detailer while your business is not growing and you're struggling and you're not booking out your schedule and your phone's not ringing, it's only going to mean that you're only going to continue to struggle. Now, what if instead of you spending any of that time on learning about tools, products, or you know, watching more videos about things that you already know that won't have an impact on your business, and instead you spend that time and energy on learning a new skill in marketing, in sales, in improving your operations or your customer service or your sales skills or your follow-ups or you're actually following up with customers and sending them emails and text messages and phone calls. Those things are what will actually build you and build your business and actually get you customers and make you money. Yet we have detailers who are struggling, who are still interested. For those that aren't watching on YouTube, my mic just fell. But we have detailers that are still interested in learning more about detailing when their business isn't growing at all, when you don't have any customers. So you really need to you need to prioritize your time and energy because all of us are limited. All of us are going to be working with a budget. All of us are limited on resources. You can't just be a detailer and think that, oh, well, if I just become better, if I just get better results, then the customers will come. That's not how it works, okay? And you can make the argument, well, if my results are better, I'll get more word of mouth and that'll bring me more customers. Yeah, if you want to make that argument, sure. But the problem with that is you only get more customers if you already have customers. Meaning you can't get more word of mouth customers or referrals if you don't have customers in the first place. Like you still need customers to get more customers through referrals and word of mouth. So if you are struggling, you have got to cut the things that just simply don't bring you value in your business at this given time. Again, everything has a time and place. Like for me, I will say, right, I'm pretty good at SEO, search engine optimization. Like that is my forte in marketing, right? That's like I've been doing that for the last 10 years. when I read someone's blog post, or if I hire an SEO person to talk to them for an hour, like I only need to learn a little bit to keep on pushing me forward because I spent the last 10 years fully focused on SEO, right? Now, if I wanted to go and pick up a new marketing channel, right? Let's say Facebook ads, right? Because Facebook ads, me personally, like I do Google ads a lot more than Facebook ads. But let's say I wanted to run Facebook ads, okay? Then at this given time, it would make the most sense for me to say, okay, how do I devote my time, or how do I allocate my time to really focus and learn the new skill, right? Which YouTube videos do I watch? Which blog posts do I read? Who are the leaders in this space that I can follow? Have they worked with, or do they specialize in the service based industry? Or can I buy a course from someone? Or can I buy coaching from someone? So since I am not the most confident or expert in Facebook ads, well, I need to go and find and learn everything that I can about Facebook ads so that then I can implement that into my business. And that's where it makes the most sense. Now, if I'm still spending a majority of my time learning about SEO or reading about SEO, when like I'm pretty at this point like expert level at SEO, well, I don't need to spend 5 hours a week on it. I need to maybe just spend an hour a week reading a few blog posts, or in some communities, or watching a video or two. And again, I'm just making up numbers here. But the point is, like, if you're already very confident and highly knowledgeable in a certain topic, well, the amount of information you need to consume is a lot less because, well, you're already the expert in that field. But if you are going to go and develop a new skill, whichever skill that is, whether it's detailing or soft skills, call it like marketing, sales, whatever it is, well, then you need to spend your time and energy on that, right? So you can't just have this, black and white mentality of like, well, I'm a detailer, so I have to spend time detailing. No, like most people that build a business don't focus on the core service that they offer. And like, let's say anyone that builds a business over $1 million a year, right? Their core competency isn't that they're the best technician at that thing that they do, right? Like the HVAC company that makes, $5 million a year, the owner isn't the best HVAC tech, right? The pest control company that makes over $5 million a year, the owner or the CEO isn't the best pest control technician in that company, right? Because they're focused on actually growing the business. And you can literally see this in any industry, any field, any size of any kind. That the business owner, the CEO, the owner, the person that's running the business, they're not going to be the best tech because they're hiring people for that. Like you would hire the best tech that you can so that they are the ones that are doing the jobs. So you have to, where you spend your time and energy makes a dramatic difference in your business, right? And again, like wherever you are in your business, like if you're still trying to make your first 1,000, or you're trying to get to your 10,000, or you're trying to get to your 25,000, this is applicable to you in terms of like the type of information you consume, right? Like if you're trying to go from, like, let's say you're currently at 10,000 and you want to get to 15,000, just making up numbers here, and you want to go from mobile to shop, okay? It would be in your best interest to follow someone, a detailer, right? Let's say you wanted to follow another detailer. It would be in your best interest to follow a detailer that has already gone through that process and has already done that, versus if you're following a detailer that, one, is giving business advice, that hasn't built a company to that size, that isn't going to get a shop, that has never hired employees, that that is against you like hiring employees. Like it makes no sense to consume information from that type of detailer or content creator if it doesn't align with what you want to do in the future with your business, right? So if you are like, and you can say the same thing in reverse, where if you are following a detailer that's like, oh man, scale to 20, 30, 40,000 a month, and you're like, man, I just want to do this as a side business. It's like, well, is that's, you don't need which, I mean, they're still going to provide great information probably. But if you're searching for someone that, if you're, following someone that's, 40,000 a month, it's okay. Well, I don't need to do everything that they're saying. I can just pick and choose the little minute information that I need from them to do my business, 4 days out of the month, right? Again, little weird example there, but you get the point where depending on what your goals are, the information that you're consuming needs to align with that and what your future business plans are, or what your future business goals are. Like if you want to transition from mobile to shop, it'd probably be a good idea to follow a detailer that has already done that. If you want to go and hire an employee or two, it would probably make sense that you follow and listen to a detailer that's already done that. If you want to go and offer window tint or paint protection film, it would make the most sense to go follow a detailer that's already done that and it's already doing it because they've already done it. Versus if you're following a detailer where they're giving you business advice and they're still mobile, they only do paint correction and they don't want to hire someone, right? Like it just makes perfect sense. And I'm using the detailer space, but like it doesn't matter where you are. Like for me, I someone in the landscaping service, it's Mike Andes. I follow him. I watch his YouTube videos. Great content. The lawn care industry, I have no affiliation with that. I'm not I'm not trying to start that, and I don't it doesn't align with my services. But the business side of the content makes perfect sense to me, and I have learned a lot from that person, and I'm able to apply that to my business. But again, like you need to find the content that best aligns with where you want to be. And again, like it can guarantee you that's not going to be you watching someone review products about a new detailing brand. It's simply not going to be that. By the way, this past weekend we went to a really off tangent. This is nothing, nothing to what I was just saying. But this last weekend we just went to Atlanta, Georgia, to Road Atlanta to watch the 10 hours of the Petit Le Mans through IMSA. So that's endurance sports car racing, and great event. It starts at 12 p.m. and it goes all the way to 10 p.m. and they just race for 10 hours straight. I know a lot of people will probably know what F1 is, Formula One, and this is like the exact opposite of that because with Road Atlanta, with IMSA or World Endurance Championship (WEC), it's multi-class endurance racing. So within, let's say, IMSA, you have 3 types of cars and 4 classes all racing at once, and they're all racing at the same time. So at Road Atlanta, there was 54 cars on track, I believe, and all 54 cars are racing together for 10 hours straight. And each car is broken into a class. So you have in IMSA, it's GTP, LMP2, and then for GT3 cars, you have GTD Pro and then GTD. And if you guys are watching the World Endurance Championship, you have 2 classes. You have the hypercar class, which are the prototypes, and then you have the GT3 class, which are the GT3 cars. But I just saw a photo over there, and I just remembered about going to Road Atlanta, and that's kind of another reason why this last week I haven't been posting content either, just because since like Tuesday or Wednesday, aside from doing all that, or doing all the work, I was also I was trying to prep everything that we needed to head out to Atlanta. Because at this point we've gone to Nashville for the IndyCar Street Race, Wisconsin to Road America for IndyCar. We've gone to Alabama at Barber Motorsports Park for IndyCar. We've gone to Circuit of the Americas for like Super Lap, World Endurance Championship, F1. That's about it actually. GT Continental. And where else have we gone? Road Atlanta, IMSA. We went last year and this year. And that's about it. Next year, I believe we want to go to IndyCar at St. Petersburg, which they just got hit with Milton. I think it was called Milton. It wasn't as bad as it was projected, but the first opening round for IndyCar is at St. Petersburg, so we'll probably go there next year. But anyways, yeah, I just saw the little photo and I was like, oh, let me just talk to you guys about that. So next thing that I want to quickly touch on as well is if you like a big thing in your business is probably going to be that you're underpricing your services. So like most of us are probably not charging what we should be. And a lot of times we don't raise our prices because we are really scared of customers no longer booking with us, our existing customers not booking with us, and that we think that we're not going to book out our schedule and we're not going to make any money. 9 out of 10 times, that's the reason why someone doesn't raise their prices. Now, here's the thing. If you raise your prices, again, very generally speaking, very general speaking, if you raise your prices, you will lose customers or you won't book as many. Now, I say that with a big caveat because if your prices are very low right now and I don't know, raise them by 20%, right? Just make up a number in your head. And you raise them by 20%, you'll say, oh man, well, if I'm charging $100, now it's 120. I'm making up numbers. You might think, oh, well, man, customers won't book for that anymore. It could also be that you're charging so low that it has no impact on your customers because you were already so cheap that they're like, oh yeah, 120, like that's still pretty cheap. So I'll keep on paying that, right? Like that's also something that can happen in your business if your prices are really that low. So one, you need to adjust your prices. And like for us, it's not a big deal to adjust prices in terms of like I remember many years ago, I would read some forums of how detailers raise prices, and again, there are certain ways to handle this. Like sometimes detailers talk about like, oh well, I'm gonna make a big announcement and tell all my customers that I'm raising my prices by X%, which it is a way that can work, right? But what we do is we just raise the prices immediately to all new customers. Right. So if you usually charge 100, the next customer that comes in, we're like, okay, now it's 120. Then if a existing customer comes back to us, to keep it super fair, we'll tell them, hey, we've actually raised our prices now to 120 instead of 100. For this next service, we'll do it at 100 because you're just finding out. But in the future, if you want to book again, we'll do it at the current price. And then that's how it's done. Now, again, the reason why I say that is because if you're charging low prices or if you just haven't raised your prices in like a long time, you need to raise your prices tomorrow. Like the next person that calls you, raise your prices. If you normally charge, 200 for whatever service, all right, next one, 225, right? Like just next service, next person you talk to, it's now more expensive. Because again, like you might be scared and you're like, oh, well, what if I lose customers and what if my schedule isn't booked out as much? Well, you're not going to know that until you try. Like that's the only thing that's going to tell you whether that's a good idea or not is by raising your prices and testing out the market, right? Like if you raise your prices and you're so scared and you're worried about like losing customers and then you raise them and like nothing changes in your business, well, goes to show like you've been leaving a lot of money on the table simply due to the fact that you've been so scared to raise your prices. Yet like nothing changed, right? And even if you do lose customers, you're going to make up for that by the current customers paying more, right? Like if you normally charge $100 and now you're charging $120 and I don't know, of the 10 customers you have, right? 2 drop off because you're too expensive now. Well, that's still now 8 customers who are paying 20% more on your services. And now you're just making more while doing everything the same because you just raised your prices. So if it's been a while since you've actually did a price increase, I would like literally the next person you talk to, whether it's email, text, phone call, the next person you talk to, raise your prices. Then the next question is like, oh, well, what's a good price I should raise it to? Should it be $10 or $20 or $50? That part, I don't know. It's completely dependent on your business and what you do and your expertise and your skills in your area and what your current price point is. But I'll just raise it by whatever, right? Again, there's nothing set in stone with what you're doing. Like, yeah, raise it by $25. Let's see what happens. I don't know. That might be high. That might be low. I don't know. Try $50. I don't know. Is that too high? Is that too low? I don't know. You tell me. You have to test it out. Like, that's the only thing that's gonna happen. Like, you have this new price point. You want to talk to people, test it out. If they keep on booking, okay, we're good to go then, right? And that doesn't mean that like you are now at the highest point of what you can charge, right? Like you might say, oh well, I'm going from 100 to 125 now. Oh, that's so expensive. But like in your market, if the highest detailer is charging 240, like let's say keep things super simple. If the highest if the most expensive detailer is charging $240 for just about the same services, well, you're still well under the market cap of what your prices can be, right? Now, another topic that we could talk about, which I'll touch on shortly here, is you don't need to be the most expensive as well, right? Like, that's not a goal of mine at all in our business to be like, oh, dude, we're the most expensive shop in our area. I don't care about that. That's just simply not a goal. Why? I just simply don't care about that. Like, I don't need to be the most expensive shop. Now, don't get me wrong. We are on the premium side. Like, if a customer asks us like, hey, are you guys expensive compared to other shops? Like, we always say like, yeah, we're more on the premium side, but we're definitely not the most expensive. Like, for the quality that we provide, we're very affordable. And we tell them like, yeah, like if you go to other shops, there'll still be other shops that are charging a lot higher than us. Like by no means are we like in the bottom. Like we are on a premium price point, but we do make it clear like, hey, there's other shops that are still charging maybe double of what we do sometimes, depending on the service and all that. So again, like, you don't need to have the goal of like, oh, I'm the most expensive. No, not at all. But you do need to match what you charge to the level of quality that you deliver. I mean, simply put like that. Like if you are delivering better results than most shops or most detailers and your prices don't reflect that, well, I mean, you need to raise your prices, right? Because you generally are providing such results that like you are like, man, like, we get other customers and like the coating, I see a bunch of high spots and I see a bunch of compound and the door jambs and man, the interior spots are missed. But man, we are way better than this. Well, you are offering now, like you are objectively offering better results than like most detailers or the average detailer. And I mean, that's why you're going to charge a premium because you aren't in the average. You aren't, you are on the premium side because you offer and deliver premium results. But again, like for me personally, I don't need to be the most expensive. That's not a goal of like, oh man, like, that shop over there charged, $1,100 for the tent. So we need to get closer to like 1,000. Now, don't get me wrong. Like if there's room to charge more, we'll definitely do that. Right. And we will do that. But the goal is not to say, oh, well, we got this quote from this. The customer paid $1,200 for this tent. So man, we should try to match that. Like, that's just, I simply don't care about that. About just simply being the most expensive because I want to say I'm the most expensive. Now, again, if the level of service, if the level of quality matches that price point, or maybe, the cost of goods associated to that service makes sense to charge that level. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But what I'm saying is I don't need to be the most expensive just to say I'm the most expensive. Like that part is just irrelevant, right? It's an arbitrary number. So anyways, first podcast in a while. Glad to make I always feel good. Like what happened is like after a long break of posting, and I mean, I haven't posted on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube Shorts, on podcast. Like I really haven't posted at all. But what's really cool is like once I post one video, like this one here, it triggers that mindset of like, oh, let's get back on it. Like okay, pause, man. Okay, let's start posting again. Let's start. Tomorrow I'll start another video. And it snowballs back into getting back into the rhythm of things. So anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned something. And I will talk to you guys next week on another episode.